Okay, now we are going to discuss the answer to question for domestic local content requirement. So the question is, given the demand function for good X in country A is as follows: QD is equal to 100 minus P. In question A, suppose that the country imports goods X and the world price of good X is equal to RM50. How much the revenue earned by the exporting country? And question B, the government imposes a local content requirement and the price rises to RM70. Calculate the revenue after the policy. Question C, calculate the consumer surplus before and after the policy. Question D, calculate the consumption effect. Okay, so now we try to answer question A. So suppose that the country imports goods X and the world price of good X is equal to RM50, and how much the revenue earned by the exporting country. So how to draw the demand curve? So the demand function is given QD is equal to 100 minus P. Then you have to place price on your y axis, and then your x axis you have to place to label quantity. Okay, so now we are going to plot our demand function, so demand curve. And so this is actually our demand curve. So from our equation, from our function, QD is equal to 100 minus P, so you will get this demand curve. Okay, so 100 is here. Okay, so this is actually 100. How do you get this 100? So you have to, this is actually quantity demanded is equal to 100 when the price is equal to 0. Okay, so you just replace this P with 0, then you will get QD is equal to 100. And then here is also 100. How do you get this one? So this is actually price which is equal to 100. So it means that quantity demanded is equal to 0. Then you have to replace QD with 0. Then you will get price is equal to 100. Okay, so now to answer the question says that how much the revenue earned by the exporting country if the world price of good X is equal to RM50. This is actually before we import good X from another country. So now we import good X. So when we import good X and the world price is equal to 50 ringgit, so it means that this is actually 50 ringgit. So you just need to sketch your supply curve. This is SJ is your supply curve. Okay, so how much is the quantity demanded and quantity supplied? So you will get 50 units of good X supplied by the world, by the exporting country, and then 50 units of good X also demanded by our local consumers. Okay, so how to get 50? So since you have got already the demand function, so you just need to replace 50 with this price, so you will get 50 ringgit. And the total revenue, how much the revenue earned by the exporting country? So the total revenue 50 times 50, then you will get 2,500. Okay, so this is the revenue, the total revenue before. This is actually our total revenue. Okay, and then question B, the government imposes a local content requirement and the price rises to RM70. Calculate the revenue after the policy. Okay, so when the government imposes the local content requirement, the price will increase to 70. So it means that it will increase your supply curve from SJ to ST. So this is equal to, the price is equal to 70. Now you have to calculate this one. How much is this one? So you go to the demand function. The demand function is actually QD is equal to 100 minus P. Then you have to replace only P with 70. Then you will get 30. Okay. Then how to calculate the revenue after the policy? So since you have got already, this is actually your quantity demanded, which is equal to 30. So the 30 you have to times 70, then you will get 2,100. So the total revenue after the government imposes the local content requirement, the total revenue will drop from 2,500 to 2,100. Then question C, calculate the consumer surplus before and after the policy. Okay, so we want to calculate the consumer surplus before the policy first. Okay, so which area shows the consumer surplus before the policy? So the blue area is actually indicates our consumer surplus before the policies, and then what we have to do is actually we have to calculate this area. Okay, so 1 over 2 times 100 minus 50, so 100 minus 50, then times 50, so this is actually 50, so you will get 1250. Okay, then you have to calculate after the policies. Okay, so the consumer surplus after the policy this is actually the area, the consumer surplus after the policy. So how much the consumer surplus after the policy? So the same thing what you have to do, the same thing you have to do is actually 1 over 2 times 100 minus 7, so 100 minus 70 times 30, so you will get 450. Okay, so this is actually the consumer surplus after the policy. Okay, question D, calculate the consumption effects. So remember what you have learned in the previous video, the consumption effect is this area. So the red area is actually our consumption effects. So how to calculate the consumption effects? 1 over 2 times 50 minus 30. So 50 minus 30. So 50 minus 30, this one is 50 minus 30. And then times 70 minus 50, 70 minus 50, then you will get 2.